Hedgehog in the trunk.
I'm back. Road Rants on Sonic the Hedgehog. So, Sonic the Hedgehog has captured the imagination of the world, okay? 113 million roughly worldwide, the largest video game adaptation ever. And Variety has posted an article about how the internet backlash actually saved Sonic. It's kind of interesting. I wanted to talk about it. It's not a stretch to say Universal's Cats and Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog had two of the most polarizing movie trailers in recent memory. Both caught fire online for all the wrong reasons after fans on social media torched the questionable CGI. Cats, an adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical, used a new science called digital fur technology to bring the four-legged felines to the big screen. The expensive CGI, which had been teased relentlessly, would have been too costly to completely retool before it unleashed over the holidays. The film became a disaster and lost $100 million. Sonic could have easily suffered the same fate, but rather than releasing the movie when it was initially slated to debut last November, Paramount delayed the film so director Jeff Fowler could redesign the animated character, whose creepy teeth initially made him look a little too human. It was an unusual move, but one that ultimately resulted in positive reviews and a 3-day opening of $58 million. And I think it's more like 64 or 68 if you count the holiday. The best showing ever for a movie based on a video game. This is the important part of the article. Quote, I can't remember another time there has been a reset, but it was incredibly smart of everybody involved to listen to the fans and give them what they want, said Paramount's president of domestic distribution, Chris Aronson, who worked at Fox when the studio pumped the brakes on Sonic. The consumer always determines what is right and what is wrong. They made their voices clear, and we listened. Let's read that one more time. The consumer always determines what is right and what is wrong, and they made their voices clear, and we listened. Okay, so what do we think about this, Rhodes Squadron? I'm going to tell you why I wanted to go over this. Not only is it a big win for Sonic, it's a big win for the fandom, and look, I'm going back to it. This is primarily a Star Wars channel. Look, Lucasfilm. This tells you right here. This guy just said the fans made it clear what they want, and the studio adjusted accordingly. This film was supposed to come out in November. They said, nope. Moved it back 3.5 months. Think about that to make sure they got the movie right. Rise of Skywalker. Here's the thing, and Paramount, I will tell you, Paramount is also the studio that puts out Yellowstone, one of the most non-woke. It is probably the most unwoke television series on cable. By the way, it's the #1 cable series, period. Kevin Costner is in it, playing a rancher. And no identity politics in that. The fans love it. It's the #1 rated cable show. This thing's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience right now. This is what Lucasfilm doesn't understand. It doesn't matter what the executives, Kathleen Kennedy, it doesn't matter what they think they are doing is right. It doesn't matter. Because if the fans think what you're doing is not right, they're not going to support it and they're not going to spend the money. Let's be honest. Let's take a big, broad look back at everything under Disney Star Wars. The Mandalorian has been run right, by and large, by the fandom. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, was done right, by and large, by the fandom. And most likely, because of Dave Filoni, the Clone Wars will be done right. But everything else, Star Wars Resistance, Rebels was done right, depending on who you ask. I like Rebels, okay? But I mean, truly liked by the fandom in general across the board. I would probably leave Rebels out, even though I liked it. Lucasfilm needs to take a step back and go, we need to listen to the fans. I mean, one after another, they're getting the example put in front of them. If you don't listen to the fans, the film fails. Charlie's Angels, Cats, Terminator Dark Fate, The Rise of Skywalker, and yes, it was a failure. It should have been a $2.5 billion movie, the last film of the Skywalker saga. Instead, you barely scraped by Rogue One, and that's considered a win. Stop. Listen to your fans. Listen to the fans, the people that are going to spend the money on the product. Sonic just proved it right there. Boom. Bad Boys for Life. They put out something that was very similar to the original two films, but they just sort of updated it 20 years, but they stayed true to the original characters of Bad Boys, and you know what? That movie's killing it. It's almost at 300 million worldwide for a run-of-the-mill like action movie, but it's got characters we love, and they honored those characters. Lucasfilm, figure it out. It doesn't matter if you as executives sit around a table and are like, I like that. We don't care if you like that. We want to like that. The movie-paying public wants to be the ones that like that. So what just happened with Sonic is a huge example of how fandom will get behind a product if they believe in it and if they feel like the studio listened to them, by and large. Tell me what you think, Rhodes Squadron. Am I nuts? Sonic is a great example. Okay? Paramount. Hey, Paramount, you want to buy Lucasfilm? You could have it for a ham sandwich and $3.25. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
King Kong in the trunk.